Ahoy, mateys! Are you new to Sea of Thieves and you're looking for the best and ultimate beginner's guide full with tips to help you become the great sailor you're meant to be on the seas? Well, that is exactly what we're going to be discussing in this video because I will be covering an in detail ultimate beginner's guide full of tips and tricks for Sea of Thieves. So you want to make sure you hang around for the entire video because at the end I will be discussing a bonus tip that you don't want to miss. So make sure you hang around till then. Hello, you amazing, wonderful, beautiful people out there. I just wanted to say before we get into this video, and if you haven't already and you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on that notification bell, ding ding, so that way I can bring you content such as this video that'll allow you to improve your gameplay and get the most out of your gaming sessions. So if you want more of that kind of content and you want some more entertaining content in general, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. But without further ado, guys, let's get into the video. All right, so first things first, before you do anything, make sure you have the game loaded up because that's kind of important. But I want you to start off by doing the maiden voyage. That'll teach you kind of the very basics of how to at least get started into the game. And once you complete the maiden voyage, then we can really start diving in to the details of the game. So first things first, complete that maiden voyage. All right. Now that you've got the maiden voyage complete, it'll probably throw you straight into a game, but here's kind of the overview of the two different game mode styles in Sea of Thieves. So starting off, you have the adventure game mode, and this is your more exploring type game mode. This is where you can go around, loot and gather chests, defeat skeletons, and you can do PvP in this mode and take out other ships and get into massive ship battles and go around trying to battle it to the end and becoming the wealthiest pirate on the sea. But this is the more game mode that you just play how you want to play. There's not a specific way you need to play it. It's more of just what you enjoy and how you enjoy playing it. Now for arena, this is the one that's more like, this is where you want to show your worth. You want to battle it to the end. You want to dumpster all these other ships. You want to learn how to use the cannons and just completely just destroy the other teams. If you learn how to drive the ships well, you can easily destroy other teams. So this is kind of that mode where you can show your worth on the seas and show that you're the best captain out there. So that's kind of the difference between the two game modes. So I recommend you starting out with adventure just to kind of get your sea legs, and then once you get pretty good at the game, then try arena. You know, if you want to do a lot of PvP, then that's where you want to go. All right, now that you got the basics of the game modes, let's spawn into a adventure game mode. So once you first spawn in, you're going to spawn in one of the 7 outposts on the map, and your first task is to go around to all the wooden barrels around that area and on that island and gather your materials, so that way you have a bunch of stuff that you can put in your barrels on your ship. But there is a limit to how much you can carry at one time, so you're going to have to make multiple trips. But make sure you gather your materials because it's going to come in handy once you get out on the seas. All right. So now that you've learned that you need to go around and gather materials and start storing them on your ship, you need to know where to store them on your ship. So before we start storing things though, I recommend you turn all the lanterns off on your ship. The lanterns, while yes, they look good and they can add a beautiful effect to the game and you can change colors with them later, you're easily able to spot them out on the seas. And so other players, if they happen to see you with lanterns, it's a lot easier for them to see you and come after you and try to take your loot. So you want to turn those off, so that makes it more difficult for other players to see you while you're out on the seas. So once you get those turned off, you want to start storing stuff in your barrels. So you have several different types of barrels on your ship. And we're going to start with the cannon barrels, and this is where you store all your cannonballs. And so once you put the cannonballs in that barrel, you can go back and get more. And then you go down to your bottom deck if you're on the sloop or whatever ship you may be on. It depends where the location of these barrels are, but you'll have a fruit barrel that you want to put all your food items in, and that goes for any cookable items, and we'll get into more details later on that stuff. So, and then you have a wood plank barrel that you want to put all your planks in, And that barrel is important because that's what allows you to be able to repair your ship when you take damage later. So you want to make sure you fill that one up with as many plates as you can find on that starting outpost island. And then once you get all your barrels filled up and you feel like you're ready to take on the seas, if you go up to your crow's nest, you actually have the ability to equip the flag. Now, there's several different types of flags, and you can buy more throughout the game. But one you want to avoid using in the beginning is the Reaper flag. Now, yes, it does look good and it's flashy, but it makes you stand out on the map. So anybody that's in your server will be able to see you if you have that flag equipped. And essentially it means that's a flag that means you're ready to rumble people. You're ready for some fights. So if you want to do that, then go ahead, but it makes you stand out on the map. So if you're not ready for that, then avoid that flag. You also have another tab in the flags menu where you can equip what's called an alliance flag. And this gives you the availability to team up with other ships and other crews, and you guys can share a percentage of loot and help each other out on the seas. So if you want to do an alliance, then go around. But you want to, with your flag equipped, and people will tend to come up to you and agree to be in your alliance. But you want to be careful because some people will come around and once you guys get all of the loot, they'll take it from you and drop their alliance flag, and then you're out of luck. So be careful when it comes to alliance flags, but it can be a useful tool. Also on your ship, you have the availability to a stove, which you can cook meat on that you gather. You can also cook other items such as bananas and fruit, but you don't really want to cook the fruit. You want to cook the meat items you can gather throughout the world from animals, and you can find also fish if you fish in the game as well. And then you have several different other chests on your boat. You have a clothing chest, a pets chest, and some other miscellaneous chests that just allow you to kind of change the appearance of your character. And that's about it for those chests. And then another important one to remember is your weapon cabinet. That's where it allows you to change your weapons, because you can only have 2 weapons equipped at a time. So you want to make sure you use that to change your weapons and run with your normal playstyle. I recommend starting out with the cutlass, which is the sword, and the blunderbuss, which is like the shotgun. I guess it's essentially a shotgun. So start out with those. That's kind of like the basic starting weapons that then you can get more used to using the other weapons throughout the game. And then make sure you check out the equipment chest too, because you can change what the equipment that you have equipped in that chest as well. All right, so now that you kind of understand some of the simple basics of your ship, now it's time to explore some of the stores on the outpost island. So there are several different types of stores, and we're going to start out by talking about the equipment shop. Now, with Sea of Thieves, you can't buy any equipment that other players don't have when you start. So everybody starts with the same equipment, same weapons, and so on. The only thing you can buy in these stores is skins and new appearances for your weapons, equipment, and clothing. So with the equipment store, that's where you go and upgrade like what your drum set looks like, what your compass looks like, what your shovel looks like, all that kind of stuff. And you can equip that stuff outside the store in the chest that's right outside the store. Now moving on, we're going to go to the weapons store. The weapons store is where you can upgrade what your weapons look like, and you've got your sniper, rifle, sniper, whatever you want to call it. Then you've got your pistol, the blunderbuss, and your cutlass, the sword. So with these, like before, you can just upgrade what they look like, and that's about it. There's nothing else you can really do with those weapons when it comes to the weapons store. So now when you go to the general clothing store, now this is where, and throughout the map of Sea of Thieves, there's different kinds of stores spread across the map, and each outpost has special unique items that can only be bought at those outposts. So if you see another player that has an item that you can't seem to find, it could be because they bought it at another outpost. So go around and explore those outposts to figure out which items you want the most. But when it comes to the general clothing shop, this is where you can buy outfits, hats, and so on. So, and then with all these shops, you can equip all the stuff right outside. There's a chest right outside the store that you can equip your stuff. And then so to upgrade your ship, you want to go to the shipwright shop, which is on the docks at the outpost. And you go there and you can buy ship skins and upgrades, or not really upgrades, but skins. and you can equip those right outside, or there's a chest right there as well that you can equip those and make your ship look cool. So that's kind of the basics when it comes to the stores on the outpost. All right, so it's time to get you some missions. That way you can start going and getting some of that precious, shiny gold. So, starting out, there's three main factions you should worry about. So, these are the Gold Hoarders, the Order of Souls, and the Merchant Alliance. So, when it comes to the Gold Hoarders, this is where you go get treasure maps and riddles. And these will lead you to chests that you can dig up and turn in each. Now, chests, they come with different tiers. So depending on your level in Sea of Thieves, when it comes to gold hoarders, it'll depend on what tier of chests you can get. Every once in a while, you'll find random chests throughout the world that can be worth a lot. So just be on the lookout. When you find loot, it'll be shiny if it's just out floating in the water or on a beach. So be on the lookout for that. So gold hoarders is all about finding them treasure chests. Order of Souls, this is where you get missions to hunt down skeleton captains. And the same goes with the level of loot you get. Depends on the level you are for that faction. So if you're a higher level, you get better missions to go get better loot. So skeleton captains, you go down, you hunt them, you take out waves of skeletons. Usually it's a couple waves of skeletons. You'll take them out and you'll kill the captain, and he'll drop a skull that you put on your ship, and that you can sell to them for money or gold. And then you have the Merchant Alliance. Now you can find these guys on the docks. And these are the ones that people give a lot of hate to, but starting out, it's actually not a bad one to pursue. So when it comes to Merchant Alliance, you get two different types of missions. You either get where you go and capture animals and sell them back to them for a decent amount of money, or you can do cargo runs. I would prefer the cargo runs. I recommend you do the cargo runs because those ones are faster and you get about 700 gold per item you turned in. So it's a pretty good start out mission to start getting the ball rolling on getting yourself some gold. So those are the three main factions you should worry about. Now, they all have something that's called an alliance flag, and you'll see there's little tables right next to them where you can vote for an alliance flag, but that's kind of more of a later in the game kind of deal that you want to worry about. So starting out, don't really worry about those. Just worry about trying to get some gold and get used to the game, and then you can start diving deep into some more of the advanced parts of the game. All right. So now that you have all your quests and you're ready to start setting sail, you want to go propose a quest and use your map on your ship. So first, go to your quest table on your ship and lay down a quest. Now you'll see that you can lay down a quest or a tall tale. So a tall tale is actually a story-based quest that takes a while and it requires you to go to a special island. So if I was you, I would recommend that you save that until you get pretty used to the game. And so starting out, set down a quest and make sure that all your crew members, if you're playing with several people, vote for that quest. Once the quest has been voted for, you will have what's called a quest wheel, is what I like to call it. And you can open that up and you'll see the information you need to follow to do your quest. And so if you're doing a gold hoarders, this will be a map, or it could be a riddle. So you'll open that up and look at it, and it'll tell you on there what island to go to, or it'll show you a picture of the island you need to go to. So then you want to navigate over to the map, which should be nearby. And once you're at the map, then you want to figure out where you have to go. And when it comes to the map, there are 4 main regions to the map of Sea of Thieves. And these are the Wilds, which is kind of a dark and gloomy kind of area. The Shores of Plenty is where the most beautiful area on the map is, and this is where it's shiny, very vibrant, and this is where a lot of people like to go. And then you have the Ancient Isles, which is the kind of mystical, magic-y kind of area. So that's where all the mystery kind of is. And then you have the Devil's Roar. And now the Devil's Roar is a very advanced location on the map and a region on the map that has volcanoes, earthquakes, volcanoes will erupt and they can damage your ship. So that's kind of more of an advanced area you want to go to. So if you get missions to go to there, you may want to save those until you get used to the game. But if you want to take on the challenge, then go right ahead. So now that you're at the map, you have map markers. So once you figure out where your island is at that you need to go to, you want to put down a map marker so that way you know that you need to go there. And then once you figure out where you got to go, get everything marked on the map, use your compass, and navigate your way there on your ship. And good luck with your quest. All right, so now that you have set sail, you need to know the basics of actually how to sail efficiently. So when it comes to sails on your ship, the main thing you want to do is keep your sails with the wind. So if you're sailing and you can look in the sky and you can see the lines across the sky, and they will go in a certain direction, and that's the direction you want to have your sails in, and utilize that and constantly moving your sails with the winds. That way you can always be going as fast as you can. So when it comes to this, with your sails, you can raise it and lower your sails. So you have two different ropes that you adjust these with. One just raises and lowers your sails, and the other one turns your sails. So raising your sails completely, having them all the way up, will mean that you can turn really quickly. You have a very small turn radius, but you won't move at all. But if you have your sails completely down at full sail, then that's when you can go the fastest, but you have a very large turn radius when you have full sails. So once you get used to the game, you'll learn how to use these more effectively. But just for the basics, you want to try to keep your sails in the wind, and always make sure that if you're wanting to turn quickly or you need to turn quickly, that you don't have full sail, because then it's going to make things a lot more difficult. And when it comes to the sloop, if you're starting out on a sloop, which is the smallest ship, that ship is actually the fastest into the wind. So if you have, say, a brig or a galleon chasing you, one of the big cruise ships, that you want to try to run away from them, because it's very hard to take those on as just a sloop. It's possible, but it's very difficult. And especially starting out, it's probably best if you try to avoid those battles. So if you put your sails directly in the wind, so directly head on to the wind, you can actually sail faster than those other ships. So that's a way you can run away from big ships if you have a lot of loot that you don't want to lose. So that's kind of a little cheeky tip that a lot of people starting out don't really realize. And then when it comes to like parking your ship at an island, the anchor will stop your ship and it will hold your ship in place. But if you say another ship tries to come up and attack you, if you have your anchor down, it's going to make it a lot more difficult for you. So to get away quickly. So you want to, when you park your ship at an island, the first thing you want to do is raise your sails completely. And then once you do that, go and raise your anchor and leave your anchor raised and your sails up. So that way, if another ship does happen to come after you, that you can just run back to your ship, drop your sails, and you'll take off. And that is the fastest way to get away when you're at an island. So that's kind of a little bonus tip that people also don't realize when they first start Sea of Thieves. All right. So now for some more of the fine detailed stuff when it comes to Sea of Thieves, we're going to talk about the food types. Now, each different type of food has its different health regen capabilities. So with the fruit, you have 5 different types of fruit, starting with the banana, which is the worst kind of fruit because it only gives you 20% health. The coconut, which is the next best one, gives you 30% health. The pomegranate, which a lot of people mistake as a tomato, that one gives you 40% health. The mango, which is like the very colorful fruit, that one gives you 50% health. And then finally, you have the pineapple, which gives you 100% health, and it has 2 eating times. So it like when you eat it one time, it takes half the pineapple away, and then you have another time to eat it. So essentially, one full pineapple will give you 200% health. So try to stock up on the pineapples, the mangoes, the pomegranates, the coconuts, and then bananas are really, you can find those anywhere, and you can keep those, but I highly recommend focusing on the other fruit types because ultimately those are the ones that benefit you the most. All right, so when it comes to the meat types in Sea of Thieves, there's 2 different tiers of meat, and all of these need to be cooked on the stove on your ship. So tier 1 is going to be chicken, pork, snake, shark, and basic fish. So these meats will give you 1/4 of your health bar back when you cook them properly. So when you cook meat, you want to make sure it turns a golden brownish color, and you can listen for the audio to change as well. When you first start cooking meat, you'll have a specific audio sound, but when they start to cook further and they get to the proper level of cooking, the audio will change. So be on the listen and look out when you're cooking meat. That way you don't burn it, because when you burn your meat, it turns charcoal black, and then it doesn't give you nearly as much health, and it just doesn't taste good, because who wants to eat charcoal food, right? So make sure that when you're cooking meat, it turns a golden brownish color. So with tier 1 meat, you only get a quarter of your health. But tier 2, which is Megalodon and Kraken, these ones are more difficult to find because they only occur every once in a while in the servers. But when you cook these meat types, it will actually give you 50% of your health bar back. So those are pretty important too. But still, nothing is as good as the pineapple, which I highly recommend. Get as many pineapples as you possibly can. All right, so now it's time for a battle. So another ship's rumbling up on you, and you're about to get into a massive ship battle. You need to know what type of cannonball ammo you have. So there are several different types of cannon ammo that you can use. So starting out, you got your basic cannonballs, which those are just meant to put holes in ships. They cause a lot of damage, especially if you hit a character or a player or even skeletons directly on. So those do quite a bit of damage if you get direct shots with those. But those are more of your just general use. Just you shoot as many as you possibly can, and you gather as many as you can when you're on islands. Then you have your chain shots, which when you shoot chain shots, you want to try to focus on hitting the mast of ships. And a chain shot will instantly break a ship's mast. And if a ship's mast falls over, then the ship will stop moving, and it causes a huge distraction for the enemy team. So if you're able to get one of those shots off and hit a good chain shot on a ship's mast, that is key in the middle of a battle. So, and then you have curse cannonballs, and these come in different types, and they all have different abilities. And they'll be like a green and purple colors when it comes to curse cannonballs. And ghost ships have quite a bit of these that they'll fight you with. But each curse cannonball has their own ability, and some of them will make it where the ship that you hit with the cannonball is instantly anchored, or it'll cause the players to be nonstop dancing for a few seconds and stuff like that. So those are important to use in the middle of battles too. And I recommend reading the description of each cursed cannonball if you do find them, so that way you kind of get used to and know which ones are which. I won't be going in detail on them in this video, but just in the game they provide a little detailed description on which cannonball does what. And then you have the last two, which are the firebomb and the blunderbomb. Now, these two can be shot out of a cannon, but you can also throw them from your character. So when it comes to the firebomb, this is meant just to light things on fire. It's if you light a ship on fire, it's a pretty big distraction for a team. You can also use them against skeletons and players on land. They don't have to be used just on ships. The blunderbomb is kind of like the blunderbuss version of a cannonball, so you can throw these and shoot them out of the cannon as well. But with the blunderbomb, they have a huge knockback when they hit players, and they also cause some damage. So I recommend using the blunderbombs a lot to knock players off their ships and to keep players off your ship, because they can be really useful in that situation. So those are all the different types of cannonballs, and I recommend getting used to aiming the cannons, because that can be quite difficult in the beginning. So, all right, well, I want to start out by saying thank you for hanging around to this part of the video. I know this was kind of a lengthy video, but I wanted to make sure I covered things in detail for you guys. Now, before I tell you the bonus tips, if you did learn something new from this video and you found it useful, I would greatly appreciate it if you would hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell, ding ding, so that way I can continue to bring you game content such as this that will help you improve your gameplay, while also bringing you some entertaining gaming content as well. So for the bonus tips, I'm going to cover a few things for bonus tips. Now, I forgot to mention in the main part of the video that when it comes to fire, the way you put fire out is by using your water bucket, and that comes into play if you're on fire or if your ship's on fire. So you need to use your water bucket to put those fires out. So the other tips I have, which will require more in-depth detailed videos, so you want to make sure you check out the playlist up here in the top right corner, where I will have videos in detail on these next few tips. Depending on when you're watching this video, it may or may not be out yet, so hang tight if they aren't out yet. But learn how to speed dig, which will greatly improve the capabilities of gathering chests. Learn how to loot juggle, and learn how to sword jump. Those are all really important little extra bonuses that if you learn in Sea of Thieves, it'll just make things run a little bit smoother. So I know there's a kind of vague descriptions of bonus tips, but for a more detailed description of those tips, make sure you check out the playlist where I have more tips and tricks and videos. But if you guys did enjoy, I hope to see you in the next video. And like always, guys, do good, do have fun, and do be kind. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.